Brother David, the first question I have for you is perhaps the most creative question, and so let's begin there. What do you think is missing for most people with regard to death and dying, their attitudes toward death and dying? What's missing, the presence of which would transform their approach to death and dying?
Well, I just tell you what comes to my mind offhand.
Sure.
And that is, what's really missing is to be fully alive. Because if we were fully alive right now, we wouldn't have to worry about being fully alive when it comes to dying. And at that time, we would know how to deal with it. You have to be very alive to deal with dying. It's something very active. Even the word to die has in the English language and in many other languages no passive voice. You can't say I am being died. If you're being died, you come out green or blue, but not dead. You can be killed, and you will be killed sooner or later by something, but you have to die. That's something that you have to actively do. And so if you really know how to live actively, you will also be able to die actively when life asks that from you.
Sure. Well, then let's follow that up with the obvious question about how one goes about living fully so that one then can die in the proper way, fully.
Right. Well, that turns the thing around now, and that means, you can put it this way, you can only live fully, and that means come alive fully, if you're willing to die. Because, and I mean that very, very concretely right now. Abraham Maslow, the great psychiatrist, said he had found in his practice that most people were afraid of death and of dying. But there was one thing that even more people were afraid of, and that is living. And we are afraid of living because if you're really alive, it means letting go and meeting the unknown and meeting surprise. And that is a little death. In other words, unless you die to this present moment, you won't be alive to the next moment.
Yes.
And so you have to let go and let go. And that is one of the main things, maybe the main thing, that we have to learn in order to come fully alive.
I see. So really what I'm hearing you saying now is that in order to be able to die, we have to be able to live fully. In order to be able to live fully, we have to be willing and able to die even before we die.
Right.
That is, now let's focus on that for a moment. Dying before dying. Now, here you are seated in a monk's garb, and I take it that, in some sense, as a monk, you actively practice dying. Could you speak a little bit about that, not necessarily even in just your own tradition, but this whole practice, the monastic practice of welcoming death into life each day?
Well, that's interesting that you should ask that question. First of all, in all the different monastic traditions, death plays a very important role, this awareness of death and that willingness to die and all that. But in my personal vocation, when I was a student, a fellow student lent me the Rule of St. Benedict, which is the little book written some 1200 years ago that the Benedictines live by, arrange their monasteries by. And when I read it for the first time, there was one sentence that most struck me of all the things in there, and that was the little sentence, to have death at all times before your eyes. And when I read that, I thought, oh gee, when it comes to dying, if that is in 80 years or 100 years, at that time that was still a possibility, I would like to have had death at all times before my eyes, because that would seem to me then I would have lived the way I would like to have lived. So that really struck me very much. And actually, in the acceptance of a novice into the monastery, for instance, when you become a monk, this is not done in that dramatic way, in this romantic way anymore, but it used to be done that even some funeral rites were performed. For instance, that you were covered with the pall with which the casket is covered, but still you stretch out as if you were dead on the ground, and then you are raised up to the life in a monk. You die and are raised to a new life. And the same with the saffron robes. Most people don't know why the Buddhist monks wear saffron robes and the Hindu monks wear saffron robes. Well, that is the cloth after it has gone through cremation. It is scorched. That is the idea, you see. So they are wearing as if they had gone through death. And it's the same thing in the Hindu tradition, for instance. The monks, when they become monks, they will... everything will be taken away from them, so to say, by the guru. Now give us this, and give us this, and give us this. And now give us your body, even your body, they will say. But you will need a body to serve others, so we give you back your body. But you have sort of lost it already in that ceremony. So, and then, as you live this monastic life, because you have gone ritually through this death and rising, you are invited to live every moment as a dying to that present moment. That means not clinging to anything. Let it go and come alive to the next one, more fully alive, therefore.
So I would think that a person who was able to do that wouldn't have the same problem with death that a person would have who couldn't do that. Because then, when the actual moment of death shows up, it's just another one of those dyings, another one of those... Yes.